this comes out. It's been out for a minute, but there's this new Netflix animated kids movie called Sea Beasts. Have you seen that?
I saw a trailer for that.
Really good. Actually, I really enjoyed it. It's very How to Train Your Dragon, but like nautical, you know. But what was like the kind of the trip about it that I really enjoyed was one of our main heroes is this young sailor that, you know, is a professional monster hunter, but it's played by Carl. He's played by Carl Urban.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was just such a shock to see Carl Urban, or like, because he has such a distinct voice, and listening to him be this very sweet and caring, because he befriends this young girl and they go on this adventure together. Because I've just been watching The Boys, and he's just a monster saying the C word every other sentence.
I almost quoted it.
But it was just like, I kept doing this kind of little head shake of like, he's so genuine and sweet in this. And I just, you know.
Carl Urban's got a crazy, he's actually got a spread out career.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird to like, when you like see something, you're like, oh fuck, he's in this too? Like, I always forget that he's in Lord of the Rings. Éomer?
Oh, this is the writer of Rohan. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Were we?
I don't know.
Or like he's in Doom. Remember that one?
With the Rock.
Yeah, with the Rock. He's in Chronicles of Riddick.
I just don't remember Chronicles. Oh no, he's in Pitch Black, I thought.
No, he's in Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles? Okay. I don't really remember. I don't really remember. Oh yeah.
God, He's in Red. He was pretty good in that. But yeah, highly recommend Sea Beast. It's cute. It was fun, and it's also animated wise, it's really well done.
Cool.
Like the quality of it.
What's the style? Cool. If you can.
It's very How to Train Your Dragons.
Okay.
Like just very. It's
DreamWorks.
Very DreamWorks, except the amount of detail they put into like the leather boots and the strain in them and the sand and yeah.
It's funny is when I saw that on Netflix, I was like about to click on it and I was like, I don't really want to start something. I'm kind of tired. I want to start something I'm gonna like haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I was like, you know what? I bet Tommy's gonna watch this and tell me about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, because we watched The Mist last night because Fallon had never seen it.
Oh man, that's depressing.
And it was a bummer. So I was like, hey, let's put on this kids movie, and then it starts off with an entire monster attacking us. I was like, ooh.
You almost started watching the sequel there, buddy.
Yeah, basically. And then today we watched Sweetheart, which is another nautical monster. I was like, what is going on? This is all by accident happening. But yeah.
It's a sign. I don't know what for.
It's
the end of the world.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Hello, everyone.
Hey. Hi.
Welcome to our part 2 of our dark comedy block.
Hi, everybody.
We are reviewing a movie today.
Hi, everybody.
And what's that movie called, Jacob? Focus.
Hi, everybody. Oh, yeah. So the end of our, finishing off the duo of our dark comedy today, we are doing Death to Smoochy.
Death to Smoochy.
Yeah. Tommy's got a synopsis for us. So we know what that is before we start talking about more.
A begrudged, actually, let me. A disgraced former child's TV host attempts to ruin the life and career of naive, up-and-coming replacement. In the dark world, in the dark underworld of children's primetime television, money, corruption, and murder rule. I had that switched, and I was like, without the second sentence, the first one didn't make sense, so I had to quickly
swap it around. Yeah, it's this a weird movie.
It was weird, but like just off the bat, did you like it?
I think I liked it more when I was younger.
Yeah. I still liked it. I was still
laughing.
It got me, but it was also kind of in the same way of Very Bad Things. You're like, I can't believe that just happened.
Right.
This movie definitely isn't, it's not as dark as Very Bad Things.
No. Well, it's more absurd.
It's definitely more absurd.
And we'll get into yeah, it's got it. I mean, it's outlandish. It's over the top. Mm-hmm. It's very stylized in a very specific way.
Well, yeah, and it's also it's TV children's TV hosts, you know, so it's kind of has to be. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So yeah, this was released originally at a comedy festival on February 28th of 2002. And then it didn't get a theatrical release until a month later on March 29th. Its ratings on IMDb is 6.3. Rotten Tomato is 43% tomato meter rating, which I was like, okay, and 66 audience score. So this is definitely a movie that the audiences kind of like enjoyed more than critics.
Yeah, and I was reading too that it fell really hard into that cult classic. And if you haven't, and I think everyone that has seen that can... okay, I see that. I see it having a cult following.
Yeah, 100%. It was number 100. I couldn't find a worldwide for it.
I didn't either.
But domestic, it was 155. You see, that's what I was saying. It's like sometimes some of these movies just don't really get a big worldwide that land on that.
We just gotta at some point talk about the fine tuning of our contest because how many did you see?
Well, I mean, it's the same as Rain of Fire, 66.
So yeah, I had the same as Rain of Fire with 80, but then when I looked at domestically, it jumped up to 93.
See, yeah. I think, we'll talk about that off. Yeah. This movie was directed by, going into the director and all that stuff, was directed by Danny DeVito, who also is in the movie.
Which I just realized he has a thing for being in the movies that he directs.
Well, he hasn't really directed a lot of movies.
No, I know, but I mean...
Yeah.
From the ones that I had, so I wrote down Throw Mama from the Train, Matilda, Duplex, Hoffa, and War of the Roses. Yeah. Which is those ones right there. The only one he's not in is Duplex.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, what's interesting is once kind of actually knowing that Danny DeVito directed this and kind of getting into it, it's I can see Danny DeVito's style, directing style. Because even Matilda,
it's kind of a style.
Yeah. When you think back to Matilda, that movie kind of has an over the top type of, over exaggerated style of stuff, getting the cake when the teacher throws the girls by the pigtails. There's a lot of very similar cinematic world or cinematic shots that are very much similar from this movie to Matilda as well.
Yeah.
So, since he's also in this, you might recognize him if you don't know him he's the Penguin in Batman Returns. He wears a top hat in almost every Tim Burton film that he's in. He's done a lot of Tim Burton films. And there's that meme where it's Danny DeVito's agent. Tim Burton is on the phone. He wants to talk to you. Danny DeVito, just tell him I'm coming as he grabs his 4-foot tall top hat.
Well, because it's what? Big Fish. Is he in Big Fish?
Mm-hmm.
Dumbo.
And Batman Returns. I think there's and I think he's probably nowadays for a lot of people most recognizable for being Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And anyways, I just started blasting me.
Yeah, yeah. That's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I still haven't watched that.
I mean, I think you would like it, but it's also just there's such horrible people that you're watching horrible people just.
I mean, that's why I stopped watching Shameless because I got tired of Frank or whatever.
Well, I mean, Shameless, they're horrible people, but there's more of a drama to it. While Always Sunny it's a satire on just how shitty people can be, But I mean, also Danny DeVito wasn't even in the first season. He actually watched the first season, approached them, and was I want to be in this.
I want to be in this.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, stripper and Friends.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of fun. I played it a lot because a lot of these people I recognize. I was just off the top of my head, what can I remember them being in?
I mean, Twins, Junior,
all of his movies.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go into who the writer was. Who wrote this movie?
Adam Resnick.
Yes, who doesn't really have a huge writing career except for I think his biggest things is he was a writer for David Letterman for 6 years.
Yeah, he was credited for 155 episodes and 20 episodes of SNL.
Yeah, so he had an entire year of SNL.
Yeah.
He did the 94-95 season, which I think that's with its peak of Mike Myers, Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey. I think it may have been Chris Farley's last year as well.
Okay. Also was the creator of a show called Get a Life with
Chris Elliott.
Yeah, Chris Elliott.
Which I remember actually when I saw that I was like, whoa, this is a fever dream for me.
How is it? How was that show?
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's also Chris Elliott himself is just kind of a weird actor, If you get Chris Elliott has nothing to do with this movie, but if he's in Scary Movie 2 with the arm, the weak arm, it's my strong hand. But also, strange enough, Adam Resnick also wrote a movie that I remember from my childhood being with Chris Elliott as well, called Cabin Boy.
What is that?
Chris Elliott plays. He gets stuck on a pirate ship essentially, and it's a weird comedy. I'm pretty sure if you were to watch it, and I said I watched this when I was 8 years old, and it influenced my type of comedy, you'd be like, oh.
It's funny though when you say like this guy gets stuck on a pirate ship. The first actor that popped in my head for that kind of movie would be Pauly Shore.
I mean,
that sounds like a Pauly Shore movie.
On the boat now.
Not pirate, weasel.
I can't really do that thing. But yeah, so Adam Resnick, I feel he hasn't really. Yeah, I mean, I feel like his popularity was more like with SNL. And like,
well, but it's also weird too. Like this movie is his brainchild. Like, it was he from start to finish was the writer for it.
I couldn't really find much information like background for this movie. I kind of since he had like he started Get a Life with Chris Elliott, then wrote Cabin Boy. I think he had Chris Elliott in mind. I wonder if he wanted Chris Elliott to be in this as well. Like, I mean, imagine Chris Elliott as Rainbow Randolph.
It would have worked.
Yeah, that like over the top kind of like
spiraling. Yeah, kind of.
Because I mean,
character.
Chris Elliott. Oh, there's something on Mary. He's Woogie,
and he's spiraling like it,
yeah,
sure.
Well, yeah,
but yeah, I didn't really find anything.
Yeah, no, there's not.
particular.
There was not. I mean, the next thing is we'll get into starring, and like the next thing that I found was apparently Robin Williams was nominated for a Razzie for this movie.
Yeah, but who beat him? Anakin.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, for Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's like okay, which it's interesting is when I first read that I was like, it can't be that bad, and I watched it. I was like, oh wow, yeah, this really isn't that. This isn't one of Robin's best performances.
I kind of disagree. It's not saying one of his best performances, but it's such an interesting Robin to get. And he did it really well, in my opinion. I
don't feel like there's a strange like there's like in his like little moments of like getting trapped and cornered. I feel like there's no connection. Like it just like I don't know.
Okay, well let's.
Yeah, I mean, because Robin Williams, one of the people starring in this, which we've already done with What Dreams May Come. He's also Mrs. Doubtfire and Jumanji, Good Will Hunting. One of the most popular goddamn stars from the 90s and early 2000s.
So I was playing this game with my partner, like
favorite movie.
Just off the top of your head, Robin Williams, go. And I didn't realize until I was this old that there's totally a Good Morning Vietnam like joke in Hook.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. So when you very first meet Captain Hook on in the red carpet, that whole thing when he's doing his like speech, you know, but like right before that, Smee shows him with a big like phone, the projector thing. What are those called?
Megaphone.
But it's not like an actual whatever that thing. Yeah. But he goes, Good morning, Neverland. But he does it in the same kind of
Good morning, Neverland. Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way that had to be on purpose.
Yeah, it was
like,
probably on purpose. Yeah.
But I was just like, I never. And it was just this random like, hey, wait a minute, there's an Easter egg in there.
Or it could have been just Bob. That was Bob Hoskins, right?
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins just improvising an idea for something, and Spielberg was like, "Yeah, let's keep it in."
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. But yeah, that's
I can see Robin was going to be like, "Hey,
that was awesome.
Hey, do my Good Morning Vietnam thing."
Or I can even see him just be like, "That was cool."
Yeah. Then I'm going down to pretty much our actual lead of the movie, Edward Norton.
Yes, Edward Norton is Smoochy.
What is it? What's his name? Sheldon.
Sheldon. Yeah.
Sheldon Mopes. I like that name.
Why?
Because it like nopes. It's so like no, dude. Like nope, not gonna happen. And like he's like in this world of corruption, he's like somehow this like shining light, this beacon of like of positivity, and his last name is just so negative.
Not the hero we deserve, but the one that we need.
But yeah, Edward Norton, most popular probably really for Fight Club, and then like American History X.
Mm-hmm.
He's also recently was in Birdman,
I still need to watch that. I've seen clips of it.
I think you would like it. Actually.
I've seen clips of it, and I'm like, it feels very raw.
It's a visual journey because it feels like it's all one take. And Michael Keaton is fucking phenomenal.
Well, Emma Stone's in it too, right?
Yeah.
And she's really good, right?
Yeah. So Naomi Watts is in it. She's wonderful.
She is. Wow, there's a lot of people in there.
There's a lot of
cool.
Yeah,
I gotta check it out.
And then he had a movie that he was nominated for Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, Primal Fear. Which, if you haven't seen Primal Fear,
I vaguely remember that, but I can't remember if I've seen it or not.
That one, do you know what the twist is at the end?
No.
Okay, because that's what got him nominated for the Oscar.
Okay.
That's a courtroom drama.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
He's also in Red Dragon, which I don't remember him being in.
He's the DA agent. He's
He's
the lead.
He's the cop.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Hannibal and Silence more than I've seen Red Dragon.
Yeah, Red Dragon kind of like it was like, why did this
it was like that was made kind of like feel to it.
Yeah, because it's also storyline wise, it takes place before Silence of the Lambs. Because the actual book is Manhunter, and that was actually the beginning of Thomas Harris's starting of Hannibal Lecter's trilogy.
Isn't Voldemort the bad guy in that?
Yes.
Yeah, right. He's the dragon. Mm-hmm. Okay. Probably up next would be.
Oh, also he's Hulk in the Incredible Hulk before he got recast.
Yeah, I liked him as Hulk.
Yeah,
I like that Hulk movie.
Yeah. So next, really, Catherine Keener, and then everybody else. We can probably just do a quick shout out for, because there's also a lot of people in this movie that are connected with DeVito. In general,
well, there's actually just also like a lot of there's a lot of people just with connection.
Yeah,
it's one of those weird it's kind of like a family reunion for a lot of them.
Yeah,
because they've worked together in other like projects and stuff. I don't know. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but so Catherine Keener, who
we also have done.
Yeah, for, what movie was it? 8mm.
8mm.
Most recent, most popular. It's probably with 40-Year-Old Virgin. Most recently. Get Out and the Adam Project.
Yeah, she was the bad guy.
She was actually a really good villain.
Yeah,
that was one of the cool surprises with that movie, was to see her play a villain and
an interesting one.
Yeah,
like the conversations with the past self that had the moral high ground still, but it was kind of teetering. Yeah, she was an interesting character for sure. Yeah. I was gonna. Oh, and then probably one of my she's not in the movie. Hamlet 2.
Oh, yeah.
I love her in that, and she's just like a drunk.
You know what's funny is I was about to write it down. I was like, I'm gonna let Tommy bring that up.
She's just a drunk asshole the entire movie.
Yeah, she's. Are they married technically, or
I don't remember, because I know that they're trying to have kids, but I don't remember if they're married.
Or he's trying to have a kid.
She wants to have a kid. That's why she's making him wear robes and nothing that's.
Dex Shepard is the guy that she's sleeping with in that.
No, it's Arquette.
That's right, David Arquette.
Yeah, it's David Arquette,
and he's a super nice guy.
And he's just a total boob. Hey man, I'm really sorry I stole your girl, and he can't even be angry at him because he's such a nice guy.
Exactly. So yeah, going into the other supporting cast, quick shout out with Pam Ferris, who she was the teacher in Matilda.
She was Trunchbull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny. I didn't even get to her because I didn't know the movie. And I was like, But then I saw her and I was like, hey, wait. And I paused and I was like, is that?
I didn't recognize her at all with the short hair, short blonde hair.
Even with the Irish accent, it was a voice. There was something about the voice for me.
I haven't seen Matilda in so long that I didn't really make that connection.
Well, speaking of great villains.
Yeah. As soon as I saw when I clicked on her and I forget exactly where I was like, wait a second, what? No way. But yeah, which I thought that was really cool because, I haven't really seen her in anything else,
Yeah.
And then Jon Stewart, Daily Show. This is when he was still, kind of doing some acting roles every now and then.
For Rob, another family connection kind of thing. Harvey Fierstein as the bad guy in the corner,
he's such an interesting choice for that role. But he did it well.
He's also one of those guys that I have such fond memories of him because he was so integrated into my childhood as the brother in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
and even his small little role in Independence Day.
Oh yeah,
he has 3 lines, but he was like the whole I gotta call my mother, I gotta call my sister.
His voice is just iconic.
Yeah, I gotta call my lawyer. I don't need to call my lawyer. I have a very soft spot for Harvey. I think he's funny.
Then let's see.
Will you make me a woman? Honey, I'm so happy. Be careful with this one. She's an old
I think
woman.
he played the mom in the original Hairspray. If I remember correctly.
I mean, I can look real quick.
Nah, we don't have to.
Okay.
I think it was more Broadway maybe, but anywho.
Okay.
And then Michael Orspoli. I need to pull these people up. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? He plays Spinner, and I meant to write down like a thing that he was from, but I
didn't recognize him.
Okay. Well, let's not worry about him then. Maybe I'll cut that out. I do want to give a shout out to Vincent Schiavelli, who plays the guy who's set to kill Smoochy at the end.
Oh, the fucking the
Ghost.
the evil the mean ghost in
Yeah.
Ghost. Yeah.
He is also in X-Files.
What a very interesting looking person.
He is, yeah. He's got a pretty cool, actually interesting career. Buggy Ding Dong, that's his fucking name.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because he's got such an interesting look to him. Like he plays a an over a villain most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
His role in X-Files is really, and it's like in a carnival sideshow freak show episode.
That's fitting.
Yeah, and he has a twin brother that's like attached into his body that comes out and is killing people.
Okay.
X-Files. And then I think my last one to give a shout out to is Danny Woodburn, little person who he was in Seinfeld as Kramer's friend. I can't remember his name.
He gets fucked up in Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
What was he? There's a movie where he's like he's the like CEO and employee of the month of like the Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, there's something I remember him being like the boss, and his older brother's like scared of him, and I was like, what is it?
I'm trying to remember. He's plays an elf in a Christmas movie, and
Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, okay.
He's one of the con artists with the
Yes.
Santas, like that whole thing, and the big bust happens. He's Tony the elf.
Yep. Okay. Oh yeah. So I mean, like I was saying, like it's strange. Like it's not a really big cast. Like, well, you have your main players, but there was just like a lot of familiar faces for like movie buffs in
TV, and
Yeah.
it was just and it's like it is kind of like nice in these kind of movies when it happens, because you have your one end of the spectrum where it's everyone is this huge star,
Yeah.
But this is kind of more on like, especially because this was 2002, but there's just a lot of familiar faces, and it makes it kind of like, hey, look.
Yeah.
Because even the VP of the studio is the boss from the
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Big, right? No,
not Big.
Oh, he's in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
He's the TV guy.
Trying to create a children's show with Robin Williams.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh my God, that is a crazy.
Yeah, the one
connection.
he gets drunk with at the restaurant.
Yeah, he's the producer.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's all these weird little like.
I think the craziest thing is thinking about like he's running a kids network with Robin Williams having its own kid show.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
So that's where Mrs. Doubtfire became Randy Randolph.
Is this Mrs. Doubtfire's alternate timeline?
This is the dark universe.
The darkest timeline.
This is when he lost his kids, got into an alcohol problem,
Became corrupt.
taking bribes.
What your snot little kid knows in my show.
Don't tell me how to run my fucking business.
Okay.
That was fun. It was a fun little down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, so what you got for reviews over there, pal?
So 6 positive, 11 mixed, 13 negative. And they're all pretty short, so I did a couple, if that's okay with you.
How many positive?
6.
Oh, okay.
So there was actually a few to like pick from. So the first one, which is actually kind of like about the movie itself, is Jack Matthews at Daily News plays like a long TV sketch, but with an array of characters, themes, and subplots and situations just clever enough to keep it moving and to cover its underlining cynicism.
Okay.
And then this one I just like Mark Savlov at Austin Chronicle. It's good, no great, to see Williams as a mean rat bastard.
Yeah, okay.
Which I enjoyed his character. Let's see. This one I kind of was thinking of you, Gregory Weinkoff at New Times, LA. Resnick has crafted an ambitious, if extremely uneven character study. Which I was like, maybe Jacob can help me understand what that means.
It's kind of like what I was talking about at the beginning, where I didn't really feel like it was like connected or grounded.
Yeah. Kevin Thomas at LA Times starts out as a deliciously savage satire of TV kiddie shows. That is a shame it swerves out of control and over the top, sliding into tedium before pulling together for a clever, if protracted, finish. So I was like, yeah. Because I don't know, this is one of those situations where the premise is interesting, and I want to get into more of that because, I'm going to pause that thought.
Yeah, because the Rainbow Randolph's like turnaround is kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. David Eldstein at Slate. DeVito turns actors like Robin Williams, Edward Norton, and Catherine Keener into nothing less horrific than giant Danny DeVito. I just wanted to see your face when I said that, because I also didn't fully.
I can't. Can you say that again? Actually.
Yeah, I didn't. I just wanted to see it because that was my expression when I read it. DeVito turns actors like Robin Williams, Edward Norton, and Catherine Keener into nothing less horrific than giant Danny DeVitos.
Okay, I get it.
Are you following that logic?
Yeah, he's saying that he just turned them into his style of performance. Like he made
definitely Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even that whole tap dancing scene. That was a very DeVito kind of like, like, I won. And then Roger Ebert at the Chicago Sun-Times, to make a film this awful, you have to have enormous confidence and dream big dreams.
I think I read that, yeah.
Yeah, I read more on Ebert's always, because it's especially when he gave it like half a star.
Yeah, Ebert did not like this movie.
Yeah, and he was known for ripping things apart, but always in a clever, like, in a well-written way. And it was with looking at this crew on paper, I think everyone thought something entirely different was going to be produced than what it was,
I vaguely remembered like the promos, like the trailers for this movie, and it seemed like it was going to be more of a whimsical slapsticky type thing. Like in the trailers, that's kind of what they like promoted it with, and a little bit more like story about Robin Williams losing his mind. Like they promoted like Robin Williams a lot more in the trailer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's probably because it was Robin Williams.
No, exactly. This is kind of like around that time, because even like we were talking about with Very Bad Things, we've talked about this with a lot of movies. Like the way that the movie is promoted sets a very specific way of what we think the movie's going to become.
It creates a precedent.
Yeah. And what's happened is like in Hollywood at this time, and like with Hollywood producers, they're just like, they're doing whatever they can to try to get butts in seats and bring in an audience without really caring about how they're influencing what the audience feels. So once you have this specific idea of what you think a movie's going to be, and then you go and see it, if it's not the way that you like was presented to you, you're going to have possibly negative feelings about it. You're either going to be like, oh, that was nothing that I expected to be, and that was actually wonderful. Or it's going to be, if it's something that you don't like, you're going to be like, well, why did you try to present it as something else?
Well, yeah, and also with this whole thing, too, it's like basically it's trending hashtags.
Yeah.
Like we have Robin Williams in it. He's huge. Really throw that into everything.
Well, like Very Bad Things, like we were saying last week with Jon Favreau is like the lead of the movie, but like it was promoted on the posters, Christian Slater and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
They were the only big names in the movie, so what did they do? On the posters, they put them two at the front. They had all the previews centralizing around them, and then you watch the movie, and it's like there's so much more to this movie than just those two characters.
Yeah, because even with the promo, so it makes it look like they're the couple.
Yeah.
Like just from like the imagery alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like with this movie, like it was a lot more of like seeing like, you thought you were going to see a lot more over the top slapstick Robin Williams. I don't think anybody was expecting the movie to be as like kind of like absurd and dark as it was as well. Mm-hmm. And just strange, like it's since it is in the world of children's television, it kind of has like this aesthetic of like through the eye, like the the over exaggerated tale of a child. You know.
I know, but that's also what I liked about it.
I think that's, I mean, yeah, it's something that works. I just kind of like, I just didn't find it all that interesting at points. Like it just
feels a little dragged on.
Its pacing just kind of feels off. It just kind of feels, it just moves at a weird pace. And it's something that's like, I think this movie also, for its time period, it sticks out. It's like kind of like Very Bad Things. Like the world just wasn't really like looking for dark humor like this, especially like this movie. Like there's one shot in it where you can actually see the North Tower in New York, and like Danny DeVito even stated, he's like, it was the only shot we had with it, and we kind of talked about it, and we figured like it's fine because this came out post 9/11, and like any type of like imagery of the Twin Towers was like super triggering for people.
Yeah.
But since it was just a flash of a moment, he's like, I think we're fine, and it's fine. But you also got to think about how America was at that time post 9/11 as a general public. A dark movie like this isn't really what audiences are really searching for,
Well, and also when you have put it under the guise that one of your lead is Family Man Robin Williams, who makes fun, heartfelt movies, like just, I mean, we already went through the list, but even, Hook and Jack and Patch Adams.
So this year, 2002, I think I saw somewhere like this year or around this time is when he was doing all of his, like, he was doing his darker roles. He did 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia and this all kind of like in a row.
I'm just trying different stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, but also it's like watching this movie and for coming out in 2002, it feels way older.
It kind of does, yeah.
It feels like a late 90s.
Like this came out the year that Very Bad Things came out.
Yeah, like it came out like 97 or, it just has this feel to it. But I think it also has to go with DeVito in a lot of ways.
His style.
The way, even the shots that he decided like to do and keep is very old school director.
It is. It very much is.
It's a very old school feeling to it.
But I mean, that's kind of also going into this like the aesthetic of kids television. It's like I don't know.
But there's also something like there's so many like themes in this that to me like really save it, especially with this just idea too of these, sparkly, pretty sets and the costumes and the innocence of the child, but then they're all a bunch of dirtbags. It creates this unnerving.
That's the whole gimmick, and that's kind of what I think. What a lot of like reviewers kind of look at is like this movie is nothing but kind of like a gimmick unfolding. It's about children's television, which is supposed to be presented as this like bubbly, happy-go-lucky thing. But what it truly is a corrupted business all about the money.
It's a corporation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then they take that corruption to next level into an idea of like the mafia, the mob, and all of these other people are like getting their dirty little fingers in it.
You didn't like that? I liked the absurdity of that.
I think that's what I think is I do like, but I can see why people like this is all just one gimmick. It's just a gimmick.
Well,
then one of the things, but what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, well, like just with the concept alone, I was like having this like fun time thinking about, could you turn this into a TV show?
I don't think so.
And then I went, they kind of did.
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went, oh wait, they kind of already did, but they like took it way more over the top to the point where they broke the roof on it. So anything that happens in that show, like I feel like if you enjoy it, you just go with it.
Well, and Happy is a lot more like a magical realism, absurdist type stuff because
there's every, there's like Happy is an imaginary friend, but he's kind of technically real, and the dad can only see him because he's messed up on drugs and alcohol,
which then also gives him a weird like psychic link. Yeah,
but but Happy's actually kind of omniscient and can like look around the corner and say like, hey, there's a couple bad guys over there.
Yeah,
and
it's so fucking.
There's like a beetle. Bad guy, like a guy in a beetle costume. It's just like the Tick and Death to the Smoochy had a baby, and there's a little bit of Dick Tracy. You know what I mean? It's just this weird conglomeration. And I went, oh yeah, like someone honestly, like there's this part of me that's like, did they watch Death to Smoochy and go, we can really amp this shit up?
Who's the creator for Happy? I'm curious.
I don't know. I never actually looked into it, but I'm gonna look into it after this. Like I wonder if we can find like a weird little
connection. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they kind of already did. But then I was like, well, you could even take this concept and you could make it into a show and make it a little more real. No, happy, like kind of maybe, I don't know. I'm going back and forth.
Well, let's talk about Death of Smoochy.
I'm like thinking about the whole.
I know.
The theme, you know.
Well, I mean, this I truly think the overarching, like the main theme of this movie is corruption.
Yeah.
Because that's what Sheldon Mopes is trying to pull. He's got such a high ethics, high moral ground, and he's all about like all natural, vegan or no GMO, gluten free, like soy fucking burgers and all. Like he doesn't want it to be anything about taking money from kids. It's all about the joy for the kids, and then also teaching kids good morals. And he's like, you can't change the world, but you can make a dent.
Yeah, he was. He did. I did like one moment he had where he was arguing with the producer.
Laura?
Yeah, Laura. Thank you.
Or Nora?
Nora was arguing with Nora, and the whole. He's like, I don't know. It was like this weird kind of moment of like solidarity where he's like, you do realize that these are children,
yeah,
right? But then he goes, all you see is a bunch of wallets with pigtails. And I was like, you actually kind of had a moment right there that that last bit kind of ruined it. Like you could have just ended, you realize that these are children, right? And then walked away. But then there's this like, he always has these little like, what does he say? The entire movie, and it started driving me nuts. How do you like that?
Well, how do you like that?
How do you like that?
This is such a weird Edward Norton role too. Like I've never seen him play a character quite like this in anything else.
Well, it's like weird from what you've told me from like that you've read in interviews and just like people's and how he can be kind of high strung.
Yeah.
And he's such a naive, like goody two shoes. It was weird. And also because when I think Edward Norton,
American History X.
Yeah, it kind of pops into my head because he was so like he was such an intense character. And and he was like buff and the tattoos and the shit. You're like, Jesus. And then this, he's like, where's my soy dog? It was just so weird.
Well, how do you like that?
How do you like that? Like it was just.
He also has a weird kind of drawl in his voice. It's like
it's almost like he's Southern, but he's not. Like he doesn't commit to it.
He's like a Southern New York.
It was very weird.
Maybe it's more almost, no, it's not Philly. I don't know. It's very strange.
If you know like what that accent's supposed to, I couldn't really pinpoint what it was supposed to be.
I think he literally just made one up.
He just was like.
It's like when I just start talking in a random like voice, and you're like, what is that accent supposed to be? And I'm like, it's one I made up years ago. It's like, is that Australian Cockney? What are you trying to do right now, Jacob?
A little bit of Welsh.
Yeah, I mean, so the biggest thing in this movie is like I think one of the things that it kind of like misses the mark is that since Sheldon is supposed to be this like higher morally grounded person, and we're watching him essentially. He's the counterpoint to the corruption, Mm-hmm. But then there's like little moments where he gets like when the Irish mob, Tommy, shows up in his place in his suite or whatever, and she strong arms him to put Spinner, the boxer, the brain damaged brother or cousin. What is it, cousin?
I think it's a brother.
Brother, yeah.
I think it's a brother.
Onto the show, and like he's like, oh, okay, haha. It's like he's letting little bits of corruption come into him, but then like with things like that, you just see them now become buddies, and like there's like this is like you don't see anything. I don't know. You see what I'm trying to say is like there's the corruption of Burke and Jon Stewart's character, like Danny DeVito's character and Harvey Fierstein's character, which is all influencing on Snope. Leslie Knope?
Snoke?
I just think of Leslie's Knope now.
I just thought of Snoke.
Snopes.
Isn't Snoke? Isn't that his name?
Snoke from Jedi? Star Wars, yeah.
That weird decision.
Yeah. Anywho. And then you have Rainbow Randolph, who's like already like he's fallen down into the. We begin the movie seeing his corruption, mm-hmm. And like how unwound this children's world has been.
It's the underworld of children's television,
And that's kind of like this. Like this movie is is Sheldon's arc to not be corrupted. And we finally get to a point at the end of it where he is finally breaking. He says fuck. Like, he actually curses. Mm-hmm. And he's about to blow someone's fucking brains out. And then Tommy and everyone shows up. Like, no, don't do it. He's like, oh, gee golly, what just came over me there?
How do you like that?
Yeah. It's like there could have been so much more of like building up to that moment, or having that moment of him like maybe a little bit of a breakdown.
Well, that goes into your like pacing thing about it too, because even with
it just kind of turns too goofy.
Yeah, well, because even like with Robin's like spiral, like Randolph, like there was some really there's an inconsistency to it, because there were some moments where Randall's spiraling was very fitting and it felt very like it was supposed to be there, and there are other moments you're like, what the hell was that? Like
the fucking cookies.
I laughed so hard.
It's a rocket ship.
What are you talking about?
It's a dick.
Yeah, he comes out. I like that. Like, he comes out from behind the band, just this crazy man.
It's a cock a boner.
The huevos rancheros, or whatever the fuck he says. You're just like, what the hell? Or like, I think my favorite one is when he finally snaps watching the TV.
Oh,
He destroys the TV.
Oh, okay.
After he gets like, what is he? Bastard son of Barney, illegitimate Teletubby,
oh, yeah,
and Muppet from Hell are all coming out of you Muppet from Hell as he's destroying like these over the top kind of like crazy moments of
clearly
Robin.
Improv by Robin Williams.
Yeah, they're just fun.
Yeah.
Like, especially because because if you ever seen like a behind the scenes of like Robin's doing improv, a lot of the times they go really dark and they have to be like, "This is a kids movie. Can you not
reel it in?"
He's like, "Okay, got it." So to be in a movie where he could improv and go like, like it was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it. But then there are moments like when he's getting arrested.
Someone touched my ass! Someone touched my ass!
Or he like throws an egg at him and he's like, I've been shot! I'm bleeding! Salmonella! You could totally get some. It was just like, I don't know. There's moments where it was like a spiral that still seemed grounded, and then there was moments where he felt like a Muppet.
Yeah. I think honestly, truly what it was, like Robin's improv didn't fit the script really. It didn't fit the character in a weird way. Or it didn't feel grounded in it. I don't know. Because even like when he's getting cornered after he, sends Sheldon to the Nazi sympathizer, that's a very uncomfortable.
That was amazing. That was so good. Because also too, I completely forgot about that scene. But
when it was happening, I was like, when he got onto the stage, I was like, wait a second.
Well, I remember it like came to me in a flash because as he's like, okay, go wish me luck or whatever.
Yeah. No,
Robin says something in German.
Yeah.
He says like a little
Abschweisen.
Yeah. So it was like, oh no.
No, like, yeah, he got up on this. I remember like, he got up on the stage and like he had the spotlight. I was like, oh no.
And this was like the flags and the uniforms. And I was like, oh my, that was one of those cracking up out of just, this is so, and he's just frozen in fear.
Could you imagine being the production designer for a movie like this, and you have to go out and either make or search and purchase Nazi memorabilia for 200 extras and not look like you're an actual Nazi sympathizer setting up some type of rally?
Well, look at the believe in it too. I swear it's for a movie. It's about like Barney, right? Okay, so it's like a character like Barney, and like sure, dude. Uh-huh. That's it. Like like situationally, there's just some I like the thought behind it. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let's send Barney to a Nazi rally. What would happen? And then of course the cops show up, and it's he gets on the tabloids
and then his redemption when he comes out wearing an American flag. It was just like,
this movie is so bizarre, but I think I like it because I liked like Happy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I liked the over the top, and I think that's what becomes like a cult classic for there's like two camps. There's people like it's whatever, and there's ones that are like but there's also one of those ones I just see a lot of potential, and it just wasn't super like And like, now that you say it, I think that's what it is for me, is the pacing. Even like Rainbow's "I'm a good guy now" was like so weird. You're like,
because he just somehow he gets swayed by Sheldon's kindness, essentially. Like,
he's
that's actually the thing, is like throughout this entire movie, like even like Tommy and Spinner, just like, because Sheldon is such a genuine nice character person, like, even though she's the Irish mob, she does, since he gives Spinner a spot on the show,
she has a sense of family, and he becomes like this.
That cowbell scene. They're making fun of some brain damaged people in kind of uncomfortable moments in that.
Oh God! Or the fucking, I'm not getting in trouble for this. I don't care. The Cowboys and Indians.
Oh, his
conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's talking about how he's a Buddhist. He doesn't believe in guns. And so his examples, like when my brothers were playing Cowboys and Indians, I always chose to be the Chinese railroad worker, because apparently they're the peaceful ones in the situation there, even though they're...
go ahead, keep explaining
even though they're not supposed to, because they've been brought over here and they've been put in a spot that they don't want to be in.
Like someone put pen to paper and went, "This is going to be a great line." And then it happened. And then they filmed it in 2002. Nearly 20 years ago, folks.
Oh, actually over 20 years ago. It's 2022. This came out in May.
Okay. Yeah.
You said nearly 20 years ago?
I said 20 years, and this came out 20 years ago.
Oh, they said nearly 20 years.
No. That's came out.
That was a mood killer. I'm like, oh no, over.
I'm trying to think of, because there's the whole, like, the cowbell and...
I mean, it's like, also a big thing, especially when you're making a dark comedy, part of it is to, like, write uncomfortable, like, situations.
You want to ruffle feathers.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, are you ruffling feathers just to get a rise, or is it something that's actually going to support the narrative and like the art, the project that it is,
Well, yeah, and there's even that like whole thing where like Rainbow's like trying to, when he's talking to Nora and like besmudge Smoochy's character, and hey, and I think he's even gay, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Is that also because even Rainbow is a very flamboyant character? Are you trying to make it like he's projecting?
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Well, because even like Sheldon even's like, and you clearly have some masculinity issues that you need to work out or something after that as well.
Oh yeah, he says you definitely have like anger and some sexual identity issues that you need to work through. But yeah, so it's like, is that it's just like there's weird little moments like that. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting like how it's like Sheldon's character is the one that kind of like shines through, and like he changes everybody. Like as I was getting like with Tommy and whatnot. Obviously, Rainbow Randolph has his turn around to then like he saves the day essentially. He gets his redemption with all of that, and then with that they get their show together. Which okay,
I hated that ending.
But then also like you got like we haven't even talked about Nora really at all, like where like the journey of her character, and like she has like this huge distrust of Sheldon and just like of
the industry,
but I'm trying to
it's kind of weirdly like, especially her point of view is pretty poignant.
I know she's totally right with it, but like, they also like they kept having these moments of her becoming taken away by like some of like Sheldon's like.
She's another character that's being influenced by his genuine kindness.
Yeah. But she's trying to mask it. Like when she shows up drunk, and she's like, I'm drunk, but I'm here to apologize.
And I only can do that when I'm shit-faced.
Which also I was like, went later when he's like, but what about the other night when you came to apologize? And she's like, I was drunk, Sheldon. And it's like, ooh, that's like, announce that you're drunk. And then if they piss you off later, you'd be like, I was drunk. I didn't mean the apology. Like, what a fucking manipulative tactic. What an easy way to gaslight somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whole like thing too. It's like,
Because like she through him she finds the way to trust again. Essentially,
the romance aspect was unnecessary. You could have done all of that without them hooking up.
Yeah.
But
what was it? Ricketts the rhino that they bonded over.
Yeah. Ricketts the rhino. No, not a rhino.
Yeah.
Is it Ricketts the rhino
because
too?
he was influenced to create Smoochy because of Ricketts.
Okay. Yeah, like it was. I don't know, because there were, again, it was a kind of a pacing thing only because from a writing standpoint and a character development, you get it. It's like she's been in this industry with people like Rainbow, who's a total asshole and corrupt, and everyone she knows is basically it's all numbers, and she finally meets someone that awakens this old flame of caring about children's television and children.
And well, she was also what she call herself, a child's host groupie or something.
Yeah, like she liked to sleep around with.
She was a children's host hopper,
a mascot hopper.
Yeah, it's like okay, but like when we first see Sheldon, like we really get to see like really how down to earth and grounded and nice of a guy he really is, because she goes to the clinic, the detox clinic,
methadone clinic.
Yeah. For everyone that's addicted to smack, and he's talking about how smack will lead to crack in his song.
Oh, it's like she'll be coming around the mountain.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you off that smack. Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
Like shit like that made me laugh. Oh, like okay.
And his Smoochy costume is just like super janky. I mean, in a weird way,
it's like a Taekwondo helmet, or like it's like a sparring helmet that he just has a horn glued onto.
It's like almost like a rags to riches kind of tale a little bit, but it's like how he tries to not, it's I guess that's kind of like any like story of corruption or rags to riches, is like how will the character become corrupt or will they not become corrupt,
or what outside influences are going to
Mr. Deeds,
I haven't thought about that movie in a while.
Sneaky.
I'm very sneaky, sir. I think you underestimate the level of sneakiness. That's how I feel all the time, because I'm a big dude, but I scare the living hell out of people because I'm very quiet.
Sneaky.
I just walk up and they're like, "What the hell are you?" I was like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just a very quiet person when I'm walking around. Yeah, or like what outside forces are going to cause the corruption. But it's just
it's really interesting, just like how the villain of this movie kind of like turns about as well, because at first it's like Burke, Danny DeVito's character, who is trying to he becomes
there's a couple villains.
Well, because it's Burke, it's Stewart, and Harvey Fierstein's character, and
Green, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it's just a lot, just like a lot of like Harvey Fierstein's character gets killed, and then it's like
Tommy's kind of a villain for a second.
Yeah, but then when Spinner accidentally gets killed, thinking that it's Smoochy, and then then it's like Burke and Jon Stewart's character are actually the bad guys that are just trying to they're trying to get rid of. So Sheldon finally, he didn't change the world, but he made a dent in this corrupt world enough to where Burke and Jon Stewart's character wanted to take him out because he was cleaning up. There was no more. They couldn't do corrupted stuff anymore. So they had to get rid of him so they could like do the ice capade stuff and get money out of it again.
That's so funny though, that concept, especially when they're having the conversation with Nopes about it, and so through the concessions, and we just take a little bit off the top. It's like this the Ice Capades, a charity for children, and they're like, we're gonna wet our bill a little bit. It's just this very like nonchalant thing, and I thought that was
it's
very
interesting.
Funny.
Is like I think when you actually like dive in and kind of dissect this movie, I feel like it's a lot better. Like there actually is a lot more stuff, but then you kind of see kind of how messy it is.
It's messy, yeah.
And then you kind of see within that messiness how it didn't get executed very well.
Yeah, because on paper there's certain ideas in this movie that are very good, but like that's a great way of putting it. But then in actual practice, it comes out just kind of chaotic and messy.
Yeah,
not really streamlined. It just seems kind of like all over the place,
Yeah.
especially, and that's the whole thing too, you know, with the kind of like the whole tap dancing scene when the Nazi party thing worked in Rainbow's favor, and he's like tap dancing through New York, and then suddenly he runs into a wall, and it was just very like, this scene seems like it's from a different movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the way it was shot and just how the character was acting, like even then you could have had him dancing. I don't know. But then that goes into through the innocence of the eyes of a child, because it's shot like a musical, like Singing in the Rain, like you know, with the camera angles and everything, and you're like, it's jarring because you're like, nothing else in this movie was like this particular scene, and it comes out of nowhere, and then it ends like that, and you're like, what? Just it's almost like it's scene whiplash.
Yeah,
you're like, what? You know?
Well, and it's like you can really tell, like I guess in like character development, you can really tell with Sheldon. When as Smoochy specifically, when he comes back and he actually finally bounces back. Also, I just remember this while he's reading about his fall from grace. You know, he's eating a hamburger.
Yeah, which I thought that was funny too.
Which, if you really think about it, if you really make that connection, that's him essentially with a bottle of liquor.
That's his low.
Yeah, that's his low.
That's his mythical rock bottom.
We're going spelunking.
We're going spelunking in search of this mythical rock bottom.
But yeah, no, it's like he went to a McDonald's and got a cheeseburger, and that's his
bottle of malt liquor in the paper bag. You know, like,
it's hilarious.
His whiskey. You know?
It's so fucking funny.
And again, that's another like kind of little detail that when you dissect it and you think about it, you're like, oh, that was a pretty good actually.
Yeah, but then so when he comes back and he actually, he's got to the show again, and he talks with the kids, and he has the howl moment, and like you can tell that there is like his character, like Sheldon has changed, and now you're waiting to see where he's going to snap. And it isn't until, he
almost blows that person's head up.
He chases Burke and Jon Stewart down with a gun because from after the escapades. Yeah, the
hitman falling asleep. It's pretty good.
It's such a Looney Tune type bit.
Yeah, very Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah,
kind of like.
It was like, I'm gonna fall asleep, and then the big opera note. Sorry.
Jars him awake.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I think this movie, if it was to kind of be more produced today, I think there would be a little bit more care put into the script and thought into like the dark humor to it.
Well, it's kind of, yeah.
And I think this movie today could have a better audience and would maybe like be treated better.
Well, and it's also like, I'm just thinking now, like the whole review of like, this feels like one giant skit, and it is more often than not, like the writer too, so it's like maybe have someone like that can do these kind of skitty, humorous moments, but then have someone
to bit, but
have someone to fill in the gaps, and be like, okay, so
that can be kind of rough, because then you might start feeling like here's a connection, and then like, where that bit just came out of nowhere, and then like, now story, bit, wait, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an uneven heartbeat.
Well, I mean, I guess in this particular case, it's like this script was this person's idea.
Yeah.
Get a script doctor kind of thing. But even then, I could have seen Danny DeVito jumping in there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's Hollywood really is more like a lot of. Kevin Bacon actually just kind of talked about this on Hot Ones, on like why he decided to kind of switch to.
Kevin Bacon's on Hot Ones.
Yeah,
I want to check that out.
Why he switched to TV or to shows as opposed to like movies more nowadays, because he feels like it's become more of a artistic medium, because the writers have a little bit more agency in the show, and especially through like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, his prime of acting is like you would have these wonderful scripts that these writers have done, and then as soon as it gets into the hands of the directors and the producers, they it just becomes theirs, and they'll just change and take whatever liberty they want.
Different movie.
Yeah. So, like, who knows what, like, Danny DeVito. So, I mean, this movie feels so much like it, like a vision of Danny DeVito because of the way that it's shot, especially, and like who knows like what he possibly could have changed between
Yeah.
Because also, I mean, thinking about also just Adam Resnick in general and like what he's, if he's an SNL writer from Letterman, he's used to just like kind of writing something and then just like, all right, now it's yours.
Well, like another, like talking about like the whole messy thing too, like that whole protest when he was going to set himself on fire.
Oh yeah. Unneeded.
You were like, I was like, I don't know. God, sorry. My allergies are really acting up today. But I was very like, I was okay. That scene was like I was whatever about it until the end when it was like, oh, that was real.
Oh yeah, you thought it was like
a vision, a dream, a daydream, like a fantasy.
Yeah,
and then like it's just like that was real, and then we just kind of okay. Like this man in the middle of Times Square was dousing himself in gasoline, about to set himself on fire, and oh look, there's Smoochy.
Yeah.
I was just like. That was really fucking bizarre that made it into the final cut. That was very weird.
It's moments like that where it's like this wasn't thought well enough. This was underthought. This wasn't taken care of properly.
No. Yeah, and that I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the whole messy thing.
Yeah.
That right there is something like that should have ended up on the floor, on the cutting room floor, and been like, maybe we should change that and do something else. Anything else, because the whole idea is it's good, it's supposed to be like a step towards closure for him. The child saves him, and it's like there's so many ways you could have done the innocence of the child saving this grown man,
only to get it taken away again by Smoochy, to where it brings him back like, I'm gonna get you,
almost getting hit by a bus because it's New York City. You know what I mean? I was just like, that was very. There's a lot of moments in this where it feels like the identity is a little sporadic.
Yeah,
where it's like, okay, we're gonna go. There's moments where it's like witty dark, and it's just like the like you said, the cheeseburger. It's like, oh, this is his Brock Bottom eating a cheeseburger.
So
and then there's moments like that where it's just like incredibly dark, and you're like, where how did we get from there to here?
It's also kind of like when he when he gets Smoochy arrested, and then he just shows up at Nora's place, and he's like expecting like to get his time slot back. It's like,
and sleep with her.
Yeah,
it was very manic.
It's like I mean, you can kind of argue it's like, well, yeah, he's in hysterics, and he's like a man at the end of his pitiful rope. Liar.
Okay, I was like Jim Carrey. I know that.
But like it's just it's delusional. He's delusional, but like even still, just like I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is too, especially with just Rainbow as a character. There's these inconsistencies with these mood swings, basically. But it's like there are moments where he is so grounded. It seems like he's still spiraling, but he's still grounded in reality. And then there's moments where he's not.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that's like, well, that doesn't feel right. But then it's also, well, that's a spiral.
Yeah.
But so I guess it just didn't feel.
Which I think that's why the Razzie nomination came out, is because like the character was just two things, like there were, and like the connection between the two, you didn't really see it. Kind of like you didn't see it was just like more of like a ping pong, and just like punk, as opposed to, and now he's coming over onto this side again, and then he's gonna come back a little bit more over here.
Yeah, well, because even his plans too, like the cock cookies, and then jumps to Nazi rally,
right?
Like it's just like that is because even then it's like
it's not so much of like maybe it was a poor performance from Robin, but it was just the character wasn't written very well.
Well, yeah, because it's like the cock cookie thing and him coming out on stage is a very manic, very like intense moment, and then the whole Nazi rally thing is very methodical. Like he really thought he went and got a disguise, he got a limo, he did an accent. You know what I mean? He like thought this all through.
Man, I don't know why, but my brain just went back to, I wonder what if that was Chris Elliott? What if that was supposed to be Chris Elliott's role? And they didn't. And the producers were like, "No, we need a bigger name," and put in Rod Williams. I don't know. I don't know. What do you have any other like final thoughts on this? I mean,
No, I mean, we just get into like rating it because I do
find it kind of unfortunate. Like, we spent a lot of time kind of talking about this, but like, I do want to just quickly note that like Nora's character, who could have and should have had a little bit more of an important role through this movie, was kind of like just used as a device through most of it. You know?
Like I said earlier too, and that was kind of the like and that's just such a bummer in like these and just in this time, and it still happens, but I feel like people are especially the younger generation are trying to keep these like things in mind. But the whole like make it like you could have just made them friends.
Yeah.
And that would have been perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And it would have fit for Smoochy and his naive, like
wanting to just like help people and bring out the best in all of them.
Like not because he's gonna get laid, you know, like that was really kind of a bummer. Because if they had just made them friends, which if you were to make it now, it would be like, yeah, just make them friends. Like they don't need to be like you could make the whole Rainbow and her thing like a little side thing.
So that was a thing that happened at one point,
and maybe that's why he's a little obsessed with her. And like,
and that's also why she has lost her trust and like a lot of the business
and doesn't trust these mascot host people because of people like him. Mm-hmm. And then just make them friends.
Yeah,
because she was she was interesting, and also she had some really funny moments.
Yeah,
like she had some good like zingers.
Oh
like,
yeah,
go ahead and plant this, and gives him the finger.
Like when she's like, change the lyrics, or he's like, you put in the cookie song, and then he's I forget what song he wanted to put in and said. She's like, no, we want cookies because we're selling sugar. That's what we're doing.
Or taking the frisbee, throwing it out, and locking him out. Yeah. Just her general annoyance and her kind of like no bullshit, kind of like.
Would you close the door? Lock it too.
Or even when they're talking about the beginning, getting Smoochy, she's like, he's the bottom of the fucking barrel. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, like they really it was, and that was a thing that kind of just happens in this like situation too. It's like they start off strong. And then you fuck it up by making them you make them a romantic interest.
Yeah.
When it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah. Work on like what is their development that doesn't involve like the man's help.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's what happens too, because then it's like anything that was going on just comes to a screeching halt. Mm-hmm. And it's now they are I'm going to say, especially in this kind of situation, a pair of legs.
Yep.
And it's like, it's annoying. It's like, no, like I liked her badass fuck you kind of attitude. And I would have liked to see her just, and even then their makeout scene, like with the panning in Times Square.
Oh yeah.
At the end, I was like, oh yeah, in the end too. That whole the last like, and that was like we always say, it was this last 10 minutes that went, fuck this movie.
I mean, finding an ending for anything is fucking hard. Coming like someone who's written
100%.
multiple scripts. You know?
No, I get that.
Like, I have a lot of scripts that don't have endings because I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna wrap this up. All right, so yeah, where are you sitting for a rating here?
Mogwai after midnight, so turning into a gremlin.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I think it's turning into a gremlin just because again, and I hate this, but I sound like a broken record, but I think it's because you and I have talked about writing so much that we can look at it and be like, there is things in here.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, so a Mogwai that's eaten after midnight, it's turning into a gremlin. That's like a six, like a 5 for a 6.
Yeah, like a 6.3.
Yeah, it's like very, very much what is sitting on IMDb right now.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's like it's like
Is that what you give it?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe like a Mogwai that's a wet Mogwai, but
so like more of like a 6.5.
Yeah, but like
low,
I think
high 6.
But like it just I kept finding myself on my phone. I think that's a big like factor that can tell like how good this movie is how much I keep wanting to reach for my phone and just like look at something else.
I'm giving it a higher rating because of weirdly how many times I rewound certain scenes.
Just to rewatch?
To rewatch, to hear, like, because some of the dialogue was like kind of like clever or like horrifying, and I just really wanted to be like, did I just hear what I think I heard? And just
he did just say Chinese railroad worker.
15 seconds, So I'm like, and then there was it's Danny DeVito in the 2000s. Okay, there's gonna be some sketchy stuff in there, but I think there is a lot of fun moments.
Yeah, there is. And like we said, like There is an interesting movie in here that just turned out messy. It's like when you really like, it's sad that you really have to dissect and really look into it and to really like see the cleverness that's in it.
To find the little hidden, like the gem in it.
Yeah.
You have to really kind of go through it, And it's like, I mean.
Sift through the mud.
If you
to find the gem.
If you like Happy and never seen this, I say watch it because you'll get a kick out of like.
I don't think anybody really knows what Happy is, dude. It's not a very popular show.
Is it not?
No, it's
I thought it was amazing.
We just know it. Like
I was obsessed with that show. I loved that show. That show was horrifying in all the best ways. And Patton Oswalt plays a
it's Patton Oswalt,
flying unicorn.
Christopher Maloney
Stabler from SVU.
Yeah.
Marine in the Rock.
Oh yeah.
SWAT team officer in 7. Nope, that's not. That's Dr. Cox. He's a SWAT team guy.
Speaking of Dr. Cox and him, they actually Scrubs. I'm just going to say that because they're both in Scrubs together. He's their child doctor psychiatrist.
Oh,
at the
yeah,
end.
yeah. And they like hate each other because they both have the same kind of like
energy, but like Christopher Maloney's character has like puppets and whatnot.
I forgot about that. That was amazing. All right, everybody. So thanks for joining us. We don't actually know what we're doing next week.
We're gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Go ahead and like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We are on all streaming platforms.
Uh huh.
Who is that?
Sparkle.
Oh, okay. I hate when you do that. Fuckers just staring over my shoulder, making eye contact with someone I can't see. Yeah, you finish. You do what?
It's Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, do all those fun things.
Tell your friends. Go ahead and send us a rating too. That would always help.
Blast it on a big speaker for everyone to listen. I don't know.
Don't do that. Yeah, so cool. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Bye, y'all.
Bye.